Well, good morning and welcome to the morning edition here at Lorette Cafe. I'm your host, Lorette. Well, yesterday I had a very exhausting day. I had to go all the way to Toronto to audition for a commercial, and I'll just leave it at that because by the time I got home, I was actually I got home at I think it was around 3:30 in the afternoon, and I'd left here just before 8 o'clock in the morning. So it was a pretty much a full day. You know, most of it spent traveling to and from Toronto. I mean, it was in the morning there was a lot of snow, and so it took twice the amount of time to get to Toronto. Fortunately, on the way back, it only took about an hour. I mean, we were home. It had stopped snowing, and the weather cleared up, and that, and we were home like I think in an hour, at least, from Toronto, and then I just take the local buses to get to the rest of the way home. So I thought I'd be home by about 4. I got home I think 3:30. So I had a couple of, I didn't really feel like cooking anything because I ate up in Toronto. I went to Subway, had a big submarine sandwich and apple pie and a bottle of green tea. So, and I had ate breakfast before I left here. I had a big breakfast. I had my usual, my oatmeal and my chopped banana and my cup of tea. And then before I left, I had a couple of cheese sandwiches and a can of sardines. So I made sure I was well fed before I hit the road. That way I wouldn't be hungry until I probably got to Toronto. And when I finally did get to Toronto, I got to Toronto about 10 o'clock in the morning. It took me about 2 hours to get there. By the time I got there, I was starting to get hungry again, so I just went up Yonge Street to the nearest Subway, had myself a nice big foot-long submarine sandwich. And after that, I went up to the Eaton Center, and I had, my appointment wasn't until 12:30 in the afternoon, so I had 2.5 hours to pass before I could, head over. Well, I headed over there. I gave myself about an hour to get. It took about an hour or half hour to walk over to where I had to be in the East End of Toronto from downtown. So I hung out in the mall for about an hour and a half in the Eaton Center. For an hour and a half, I did the old mall walk routine. I walked around, I walked around 3 different levels of the mall. I went downstairs and then to the next level and the top level. So, and I went around at least twice, I think, each level. It took me about an hour and a half to do that. And then I was wandering around, wandering around, looking for thinking, is there anything I need to buy up here? Like, is there anything I can buy up here while I'm up here? Because I don't get to go to Toronto very often, and I thought, I dropped into Sports Check, which is a sporting store that sells a lot of different sporting gear. Like they sell golf clubs and tennis rackets, and I wanted to check and see if they had any like boxing supplies, and so because I needed a pair of bag gloves, so I found a pair of Everlast. They've been around, brand name that's been around for a while, and I decided they were only $30, so I decided I would buy a pair of those. So that's pretty much all the shopping I did yesterday. So I got to the audition. I had to wait. I got there at 12 o'clock, around 12 o'clock. Let's say 12 o'clock. So I was, my appointment was for 12:30. Usually I'm supposed to be there 15 minutes before my call time. I arrived there a half hour. I like to give myself enough time to fill out whatever paperwork I got to fill out, and 15 minutes just doesn't cut it for me because I like to take my time filling out paperwork. So I did that with plenty of time to spare, and I had to wait a total of I was just 10 minutes shy of getting a paycheck. If they keep you there longer than an hour, they have to pay you for an hour. The first hour is free, and then they got to start paying you. The clock starts running, you know. So it was like 20 after 1, I think it was, when they finally took me in. And there was a few people there auditioning for me. I had to audition to play a cat, believe it or not. A cat, you heard it right. I had an audition. It's the first time I ever had an audition for something that wasn't human. First audition I had of where I had to audition for any kind of animal whatsoever. I've never auditioned to play an animal in the 8 years that I've been pursuing work as an actor. And the commercial was a Skittles commercial. And for the audition, I had to be a cat, and I had to pretend in front of me there was a Skittle, and I had to, you know how cats, they come up to you, and if you have something, they sometimes lick your hand, or they lick your face, or whatever. Sometimes, occasionally, or sometimes maybe you'll have a piece of food or something like that, and they might lick that. So the whole idea was that the cat would first there would be some actual real cats, and they would be attracted to the Skittles, and they would go up and lick the Skittles the way a cat would lick something like that. And then the whole idea is that a guy dressed up as a cat would actually go up and do the same thing and lick the Skittles. So I had to literally kneel like a cat on a chair and literally act like I was licking an imaginary Skittle. So I literally at one point I was supposed to have a piece of, say, plexiglass in front of me, and I had to, work with that, having an imaginary piece of plexiglass in front of me, like, say, a window, and I had to lick. I had to literally like, oh, this is the best thing in the world, sort of deal. So it's like a cat, and you're like, oh yeah, like that. And then I had to do that into the camera. And, it was a little embarrassing. It's, some of the stuff you have to do at an audition is a little embarrassing. I mean, I've had to, take my shirt off and stuff like that, and it gets a little personal sometimes. So yesterday I was very exhausted when I finally got home. I was able to make myself a couple of sandwiches, a couple of tuna fish sandwiches with cheese, and I had a cup of tea. That was my supper. Managed to do the dishes. I managed to take a shower, brush and floss my teeth. It was like I managed to do everything I wanted to do. Like, clean my dishes, take a shower. I needed to take a shower, and get everything done, and then finally go to bed about 7:30 last night. And I woke up, I think, about an hour and a half ago, because It's it's a challenging thing to have to do, just sort of with, I only got called Friday afternoon sometime, so I had less than 24 hours to prepare myself for it. So, but I think I did all right. I mean, under the circumstances, I mean, a lot of people were there to audition. There were some people there to audition for some different roles, different parts, and there were a few guys there auditioning for the same part as I was auditioning for. So that's my day yesterday. That's what I did yesterday. So I've pretty much explained it. I guess the best way I possibly could. That's pretty much the lowdown. Oh. Yeah. So now we're having breakfast. So we are hungry. I tell you, by the time I got home and tried to go to sleep last night, I was in a lot of pain. Pain. You don't know pain until you've experienced the kind of pain that you experience after a grueling trip to Toronto for a commercial audition. For an internet commercial. Commercial that's going to be used on the internet. So some people were there complaining about it. It's like, this internet stuff, man, I don't get it. Fortunately, I've been spending so much time on the internet, I do get it. So I'm still tired. It'll take me a few days to get to recover from the trip. Yeah, 8 o'clock in the morning. Leave here at 8 o'clock in the morning. Get home at 3:30 in the afternoon. So that's my day yesterday here at daryllorette Cafe. So we're running out of time again, so we're going to let you go until next time. So this is daryllorette here at daryllorette Cafe, wishing you a good Sunday. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.